Mario Balotelli.
Mario! Super Mario! Mario! Goal!
A name that should have been written next to the greatest players in football history. But instead, it became a question. What went wrong? Because everything was there. The talent was undeniable. Power, technique, confidence. At just 17 years old, he was already playing for Inter Milan, competing with grown men, and dominating them. He wasn't just good. He was different. The kind of player you don't teach, you just watch. And for a moment, it felt like the world was watching the rise of something special. Trophies came early. Big games came early. Too early, maybe. Because while his talent was growing, something else wasn't. Discipline. Balotelli didn't struggle with football. He struggled with control. Control of his emotions. Control of his decisions. Control of himself. And that's where the story begins to change. At Inter, the signs were already there. Arguments with managers. Moments of frustration. A player who didn't like being told what to do. Not because he couldn't listen, but because he didn't believe he had to. Then came Manchester City. A bigger stage. More pressure. More attention. And for a while, he delivered. He was part of a historic title win. He created one of the most iconic moments in Premier League history. And yet, people weren't talking about his football. They were talking about everything else. The fights. The chaos. The distractions. A player who could decide a match, but couldn't control a week. And that's the difference between good players and great ones. Consistency. Something Balotelli never truly had. But then, there was one night that changed everything. 2012 Euros. Italy versus Germany. 2 goals. One performance that reminded the world exactly who he was. And that celebration. Cold, silent, powerful. Felt like a message. Like he had finally arrived. Like he had finally become the player everyone was waiting for. But he didn't, because that night wasn't the beginning. It was the peak. After that, the decline was quiet, but constant. Different clubs, same story. Moments of brilliance, followed by long periods of nothing. Opportunities came, but they never stayed. Because talent opens doors, but mentality keeps them open. And Balotelli kept closing them himself. That's the hardest truth about his career. He didn't fail because he wasn't good enough. He failed because he never mastered the one thing that mattered most, himself. Today, his name doesn't represent greatness. It represents potential, unfinished, untouched, wasted, and maybe that's worse than failure. Because failure means you tried and lost. But Balotelli, he never truly reached the level he was capable of. And deep down, everyone knows it, including him. Mario Balotelli, the player who had everything except control.